Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we might have the craziest video ever conceived in gacha history. Because it involves a lot of things. And I assure you when I say this, I am not the individual that's deciding to take world issues, world politics, whatever, and then apply them to gacha games. No, that's a topic that we're going to be covering today, but I am not the one that did that. It is somebody else. And the topical area that this is originating from is none other than Arknight's Endfield. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. And what we're going to be focusing on is Kuki Kaze over here, a Arknight CC who has a lot of videos, has built up basically his entire channel around AK and AKE. Well, he's had a bit of a reaction to a review that somebody posted on Discord that, well, based off the stuff I said at the start, it does bring in world politics. It does bring in crime. And it also does bring in, I think, the craziest reasoning that probably anyone has ever heard. And in this 5-minute video that we're about to check out, I think you just saw IDF. So, yeah, let's just get it.
Sometimes I think Endfield reviews can be a little overboard, a little too harsh. But I think this one takes a whole nother level.
He's probably talking about me. I call it a dog shit game. I call it truly one of the worst games I've ever played. It feels like I'm going back to the gacha stone ages where they took like a triple A baseline and then proceeded to like rip pieces out of it and create one of the most player unfriendly experiences I've ever seen. But I think that's fair though, right? Like, I don't think that's like necessarily saying anything that's like, oh, he's harsh, but I don't think he's going overboard. I think that's a fair take to make. This goes differently, though.
I'm going to show you an anonymous review of someone who commented about the latest patch over on a private Discord server. I'm going to start off with something that was said before the patch was even released. The framing in that Reddit post is genuinely the most vapid nonsense I've seen from the Endfield sub for quite a while. No concerns about stale gameplay, lack of direction, artistic integrity, literary pestilence, anything of real value or merit.
I'm going to be honest. You take that part out, I don't think it's that bad. Right? Like, if I just censor that, I don't think that this is even, like, that terrible. Obviously, this guy doesn't like the game, but I think these are all actually valid critiques. Gameplay, lack of direction, artistic, like, bad writing, these are all fair.
Just too much doom posting, let's be positive. Because wah, stop being negative about my...
And now he's saying, okay, now the Endfield Reddit is full of toxic positive shills that hate critique and will just brigade anybody trying to critique the game. Right? That's fine. I think that's fair. I think this is probably actually super accurate. But this is where shit goes a little bit crazy.
IDF Goonslot.
This is kind of like, imagine you're at like a pottery class. You're like an adult, you're trying to like gain new hobbies, and you're like doing that shit where you're like spinning the thing and you're like shaping the clay and all of that, right? This just feels like you're in that class and then somebody next to you, you're supposed to make a vase, you're focused on your stuff, and then an hour later, the dude on your left, like, he made a swastika. That's like what this feels like, where out of nowhere, like, you're just not even a slightly related, like topical area. This dude just brings in the craziest shit I've ever fucking seen. Like, bro, we're talking about, like, a game, development. It's lacking various things. We're talking about, like, writing of the game. We're talking about the art. And now you're out here comparing it to Israel.
Which, if you're wondering what that is, it's Israel Defense Forces. Why? Beats me.
Bro, Hypergriff is the people that work there are Chinese. They're Asian. Asians can't be Jews. That's like how Judaism works. Why? It's inherited through the mother, and then you gotta be like born into it. That's like how like Chinese people kind of like, wait, did they change that? I don't think you can convert to it, right? Am I wrong about that? You gotta be like born into it. So it's like, okay, I guess technically if like one of your Chinese ancestors like went to Israel for fun, had like, you know, a baby and then brought him back, and then like you got like one Jewish ancestor from like fucking 1000 BC, and like, but you're like basically 99.99% Chinese, I guess you could be a Chinese Jew. But you get what's going on, right? It's a very high likelihood if you're Asian, you're not Jewish. Is that a fair take to make? Because of how it works. So the comparison at a baseline, basically what I'm saying, is ridiculous. Because it's a Chinese company.
Enfield Industries is the IDF. Only 500 characters this time is kinda cringe. Can't go on a rant about how the Enfield devs are like the IDF. It's really my...
They're Chinese! And this is why I made such a big point of clarifying that up front. Because how many times are you going to compare a Chinese company to Israel like this?
These endnames they put out were never good. Aping Hoyo again without any of the sauce. I legit just don't see any possible way this game can convince me the idol is anything more than lowest common denominator garbage.
This is the thing. There is legitimate, fair, some could say extremely harsh critique, right? In here, that's valid, but then you're just spicing it up by calling Hypergriff Jewish. For no reason. That's like what this is. You're just calling this this Chinese company Jewish, and then weaving it into the critique and looking insane.
It'll just be, oh wow, Endmin, thank you for helping me overcome my self-doubt. You're the best, glop glop glop, thank.
Why is hearing him read this shit? Wait, I feel like... Why is hearing him read that actually funny?
Common denominator garbage. It won't push any boundaries, won't challenge anyone's views. It'll just be, oh wow, Endmin, thank you for helping me overcome my self-doubt. You're the best, glop glop glop, thank.
Why does he sound like that?
Thank you, Endmin, for letting me suck your dick. You're the best.
It just gets worse. Why are you reading this shit out, bro? Somebody about to save that shit, bro. Somebody about to make that their ringtone, bro. Bro, somebody about to make them somebody about to make that their wake up alarm, bro. You got some weirdos on the internet, Kookie. You can't be giving them shit like that for free. At least make them tip you first, and then you send that audio file to them. What is this?
Slop Eaters will fight in the trenches with the usual joy and whimsy defense, and they'll all get their IDF medals in due course.
He's basically saying these people are going to quote-unquote blank in a war and receive medals of honor. Now he's like saying people be bound to like... This is all over gacha games. And remember, Hypergriff is a Chinese company. And this is what I'll say, right? And I mean this in like the least like political or offensive sense possible. If Hypergriff was like actually owned by Jews, I could sort of at least understand the angle he's coming from. I wouldn't agree with it, obviously. I could understand the angle he's coming from because it would thematically make at least a little bit of sense. But when they're a Chinese company, what the fuck are you even saying? What are you even saying? And why are you trying to politicize gacha in this way? It's got nothing to do with this shit. Absolutely nothing to do with this.
Praying for you, you haven't done Ross.
It's an analogy. We have seen him make this analogy like 7 times. That's not an analogy anymore. That's like a cornerstone of your argument, the comparison.
His quest. Also, ICL. What's ICL?
I can't lie. Dummy.
Boomer. Can someone tell me in the comments?
This guy's out here saying he's a boomer, doesn't know what ICL means, but he gonna say glorp, glorp, glorp. Talking about sucking other people's dicks. He'll say that though, but but ICL is where you go draw the line. Okay.
Still feel
You can't Google that, but he'll say glorp, glorp, glorp. On stream. Yeah, he'll say glorp, 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 but won't Google ICL. Okay.
feels like it caters to Blue Archive fans, character and personality wise. Gotta be real, I think that's unfair to Blue Archive fans. Very
Oh, this is where they're gonna get into the Rossi situation. That's what I'm gonna say. Anytime these devs release a character like that, they know people gonna be weird. And let me just say this: the amount of Rossi like stuff, people were like fucking. It was weird.
strongly dislike Si. Within 30 seconds of meeting her, you can tell exactly who she's for. Yeah, tsundere, bratty, teenager, but not actually a teenager, that sort of thing. Okay, on to the current patch. I looked around earlier today and I saw almost universal praise for the news story.
You know, at least he isn't comparing Rossi to the IDF. Right?
Bar really is in fucking Gehenna. It's the same Harren slot as Tang Tang's character assassin.
Gehenna is hell. I will also say this, it's like, seeing the word Gehenna remind me of this. There's a low tier guy playing Tekken.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It sounds like he just called the dude that just mocked him a Canaanite. Like, that's a biblical insult. Like, literally, like that's like solid, like you're the Cain to my Abel, right? Like, no, that's like what this is. Just wanted to mention that while we're on the topic of
Nation. The writers won't let characters grow without the admin being involved. Like, as far as Harren slot goes, I think the arcane part was competent, but it's still Harren slot. And it still incessantly revolves around the admin, simultaneously failing to attract porn artists.
Well, I assume this guy's done his research. He's so one of the big reasons why Tobero is crashing out is because there's not enough goon content on Endfield characters. Is that like the main take here?
While also desperately trying to court the consumers, all while having a CM player base who voted for Rossi as their most sexually desired character.
Here's a photo of Rossi for you guys. That's her splash art. Well, I hope he's got proof or whatever he's saying over here, because that's a little weird.
Endfield continues to fumble in ways we didn't even think were possible.
I would hope that whoever said this has proof for what's ever down for that.
Oh, by the way, any thoughts on one?
Whew. Oh boy. Ooh, this is gonna require some tactical repositioning.
0.4's main storyline. Better than previous ones, NWEZ is pretty sick and the OST is expectedly good, but Cool Environment's BGM were already par for the course. I really can't help but notice a lot of the praise the current patch is getting is just because the bar is no longer comically low, whereas it was in hell before. I think the patch can be summed up in one word as decent, but I'm seeing nothing but incessant praise for it, even from people who were very critical of it before.
I think he's talking about version 1.4 now.
Which to me is just more evidence that every gacha gamer is really just after hype moments and aura, no matter how much they might larp as a critic. I think their writing decisions towards the end of the new MSQ were really questionable, as were some throughout the story. Actually, not gonna lie, Arcane is the most compelling character they've written up so far, and even then, they still couldn't stop themselves from reducing her character growth to admin-centered harem slop.
Hey, at least you know this guy played the game.
Even going as far as having her say, but you're carrying so much more admin. Woman, we literally have amnesia. No, the fuck we are not. Can the writers not put insecure Chinese incel egos?
Why'd he stop talking about the Jews? I mean this in the most, like, inquisitive way possible. Like, he was just talking about IDF and stuff. Like, why are they Chinese now? He already ulted. He needs to recharge.
The center of the fucking universe for one goddamn second. Sui Lolly is the manifestation of asking what if Dusk was from Tel Aviv.
What does that even mean? I don't know. Like what is that supposed, this is...
How much more do you want from me?
More.
How much more successful do you want me to be?
More successful.
How many records can my records break?
More records.
But I'm the best.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
Are you the Dusk from Tel Aviv?
What the f does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
That's the same vibe I get from Dusk from Tel Aviv. What the fuck does that mean?
Easily the single worst character so far, that has makes me regret crashing out over Rossi, which is an incredible achievement. Factory Update is interesting in theory, but I also can't help but notice a lot of praise from Kuro bots for
Damn! Damn, he brought Wuthering Waves into this shit too!
simplifying the AIC so the blueprints are easier to place. Enough said on that. I think the patch is a 7 out of 10 at best, but the gargantuan mass of seals clapping their bellies at the NWEZ title drop tells me the game is still very much cooked. The problem of the character growth
7 out of 10. Damn, now we got a Jetazad reference too.
needing admin to be around to say some benign bullshit that emotionally stunted losers don't have the neurons to think of like you gave them hope is present in all of the main story character quests. This is my favorite tweet about Electrios. Quote glitter. I just keep thinking about Electrios, man. Suddenly appears, is insanely cool, makes you question so much, leaves you with a sense of tragedy in your victory. Suddenly appears, is insanely cool. Wow! Clapping seals.
So this is the thing that I feel like a lot of people could say. I don't necessarily think, at a baseline, this guy's like super wrong about a bunch of stuff, but like, good God, I know there's adding flavor to things, but it's a lot of fluff. But at its core, is he technically wrong? No, but I think calling Hypergriff Jews isn't going to get people on your side. I think he's right about a lot of things, but calling the people that are making this game Jewish and then saying that, like, and using that as, like, it's just weird. And they call it the people that play the game the IDF. That's just weird.
There's definitely a lot more happening in this private server than just these 2 months. It's been happening since the inception of the game.
Man, I should go join that server. It sounds fun.
I let you decide as to how you
Like, bro, imagine the number of videos we could make just having access to that server. Bro, you could just read the messages. You could just read a message and that's a video on its own. Bro, this guy just made a video reading the messages.
Thanks for watching the video. See you. Bye-bye.
And so this is Kuki just going ahead and making the big reveal over here. This is Tobero. If you didn't know that already, this is Tobero. The guy that's kind of like been known in the AK community as being one of the more interesting critics when it comes to Arknight's Endfield. But this guy has like a thing where he's like super mad about a lot of the stuff in Endfield that like didn't really kill the game. I don't think people quit Endfield because of the dodge. I don't think people quit Endfield because of like, what else did he say people were going to quit for? I think it was like mainly the dodge. Yeah, he was freaking the fuck out. And I guess like now he's not really making videos anymore, but he's still doing a lot of work. People go so far as to say he's worse than you. Why is that going far? Can we just talk for a second over here? Like, what have I done that's even slightly close to this? What do you mean go so far as to say he's... Bro, this guy is calling the company and the players Jewish and then making these comparisons like it's... What do you mean? The worst I do is like call people retarded when they're acting dumb. Come on, Endfield community. You can only give as much headspace to individuals like this as you want to give. And most people would kind of like view a situation like this as the ramblings of somebody that's literally insane. Because I think that's kind of what's going on right now. It feels like the dude's like on like some sort of like psychotic break or like mental breakdown because there's nuggets of truth in here. There's actual facts. There's good points. But it's all getting sort of obfuscated by the obvious just insanity of bringing world politics into this situation. And I think a lot of individuals, right, can naturally understand there's probably a lot of stuff going on. And Endfield is probably this dude's outlet. But there are certain times where you need to not treat your outlet as a pile of shit and just like, I don't know. This is like the argumentative equivalent of like not washing your dishes. This is like in a debate, it's like eating with dirty utensils. That's just what it feels like over here because yes, maybe the food he's eating, the points he's making are legitimate, but like the plate he delivered them on is covered in shit. And there's a lot of poo that I'm seeing in this video over here. Just like mountains of it. So yeah, that'll be my take on this ridiculous Endfield situation. it is what it is. But I like, maybe Tobero watches like a lot of Hassan or something. Like, bro, but like maybe that's what's it. Yo, if Tobero is like actually one of Hassan's like biggest viewers, that would make a ton of sense, right? Like, would that not? Maybe that's where it's coming from. Maybe that's where it's coming. Maybe he's a Hassan tier 3 sub. The Dog Slayer. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.